So we'll go ahead and get started because like I said, I want to talk about you because I love everything that we've done together in the past like year and a half, almost 2 years now, right? This was our first contest season together. And it was your transformation and everything was just so amazing in the time that we started working together. And even before that. So I want you just to introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and just a little bit of background, and then I'm going to ask you a few questions just about our journey together.
Yes, so my name is Sarka Kovacs. I'm originally from Czech Republic, but I've been living in the UK for about probably 10 years now. I met my now husband over here. So originally I came here for like half year with my friend just to learn a little bit of English, and I am here 10 years. I don't know
Wow.
how it happened, but yeah, the time has just flown incredibly. Probably like 5 years ago, I would say. I started more lifting. I was always an active person, so I used to do like horseback riding competitions. I've done competitions because my mom is actually like a head judge. She's judging the competitions, so I've done that for a while. I did like rock climbing, athletics in back in the school and all that. But as I was approaching, I would say my like late teens, early 20s, my like social life took over, I would say. So I kind of dropped a little bit of the sport, and I was just like enjoying the life, you know. It's just
Sure.
partying, being out, all that. And then I came here probably like 10 years ago, I would say. And again, I wasn't really in that great environment, not so much fitness around me. But slowly over time, I found my way back to the gym, which I absolutely loved. And I started lifting really, really heavy. Like I think that's why I have such a strong legs because I love squatting and leg press. It just was passion of mine. So I used to like do a lot of heavy stuff. And then I was like, oh, I could actually take this to the next level. And
Yeah.
I'll research how can I become a professor, PT, how can I get my qualifications. So I am qualified PT. I can do a GP referral as well, obesity and stuff. But I actually, once I got my qualification, which took me probably a year, I would say, I realized that, okay, I have all these qualifications, but I have actually zero experience. I never dieted myself. I never, was working towards certain goals. So I was like, how can I teach people when I myself don't have this kind of experience? I never dieted to lose a couple of pounds, or I never had anything like it. So I was like, what can I do for myself before I jump into coaching? So that's when I started like browsing around the internet, and I come across of the Bikini and Brain. So Ashley and
Mhm.
Adam, and I started watching them for a while, and I absolutely loved it. It just was so appealing to me that Ashley is able to do this for such a long time in a healthy way.
Mhm.
So I kind of was playing with that idea for probably like 6 months. Like, should I do it? Should I not? Am I too old for this? Am I crazy? You know, most people at my age are thinking about children and starting a family, and I'm thinking about how can I get into the tiniest bikini ever on stage in front of like hundreds of people. Like, who does that? Anyway, I just absolutely love the sport. I start to like search more. I love bodybuilding in general, so I follow the other divisions as well.
Mhm.
So probably 4 years ago, or yeah, close to 4 years ago, I signed up with Team Elite Physique, and I never turned back since then. So in 2021, I would say in September, so it was end of 2021, I signed up with Team Elite Physique with
Oh,
previously a different coach. And 6 months after, in spring 2022, I did my very first competition in the bikini.
yeah. And that was with Anya coached you into your first show ever and did a great job with it. And I know that there was
Yeah.
a lot of change even in between your first show and your second show that year. And that's the first time I got to see you on stage was at the Arnold UK in 2022.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was we did like a little comparison and the change from that first show into the second one, massive change in conditioning, right? So what was your feedback or your experience at that second show at the Arnold? Tell me a little bit about that because it was you were crazy conditioned.
Yeah, so the Arnold was actually my third show. So I did one
Oh,
in
okay.
April. That was my very first show. Then we took a couple of months. We couldn't really, I wouldn't call it improvement season because it was literally a couple of months later. I had to go
Yeah,
for another regional show, and 2 weeks later, I had this Arnold show. It was a very long year. I never prepped in my life before, right? So my body never been in this stage conditioning. I never been so strict, on a meal plan and everything. So I was just everything to the point. Like I wouldn't have even like a half of a pickle, off my plan or nothing. And if it was on my plan, I wouldn't eat it. So I was very, very strict with myself. The first competition ended up for me really, really well. I did honestly really well. Now looking back, maybe the talent level wasn't really there, so I won my all my classes pretty much. So I got a little bit into my head, and then. The feedback was to come a little bit more conditioned back then because I feel like it's getting better, but I would say the European still reward a little bit harder look compared to the US. So,
definitely. Yeah.
so yeah, so I thought that I was conditioned, but apparently I was not enough, at least. So for the second show, we tried to bring a little bit more conditioning, but I feel like my body prepping for first time and being in it so long, I was doing 2 hours of cardio 6 times a week, not eating much. I was literally banging myself into the ground. So on that first competition, which was 2 weeks prior to this Arnold, I was told that I still need to be more conditioned. So we achieved that for Arnold, but looking now back on those pictures, I look like a skeleton, in my personal opinion. Very, very bony, prolapsed glutes completely. There are literally holes in my glutes, a lot of rib cage, just not very healthy looking um, package. But I think, if you don't have the muscle maturity on your frame yet, you will look skinny. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. And especially being the first time, it's hard to understand what you're getting into um or to know like exactly what you need to bring. And you and Anya did a great job like making the changes that the judges asked for. And then after that, after the Arnold, you went into a long improvement phase. And then you and I started working together. I think it was March or April in 2023, correct? Yeah.
Mhm.
So you were just a few months into your improvement phase at that point. But I want to talk a little bit about that because we did do kind of some deep dives into your nutrition and just your overall health and kind of regulating things. So I know all of us, and that's like, myself and Anya and any coach has a little bit different, coaching style or what they look for with their athletes. So what was what was that like for you to make the change? Because I know it was kind of just like all of a sudden there wasn't a lot of time, I guess, to make that decision. So, and it's a big deal. You and I have talked about this even before we started working together. I think it's a very important thing that you are able to trust and communicate well with a coach because it is a strangely intimate relationship, right? Like, I know a lot of things about your personal life. I know things about like your hormone health and your digestion and just like things you don't talk about on a normal day-to-day basis. So, what was that like for you to kind of to make that jump and make that dive and be able to trust me and move forward working with me?
Yeah, so I found myself in this position because my coach Anya prior, she left the team Elite Physique. So I had
Hmm.
two choices: either to go with her and join new team, or maybe try potentially someone else from Team Elite Physique. And I was like, this is an opportunity for me to try someone because I had no, and no one ever coached me before. So I couldn't compare, you know, I didn't know,
Right.
like I knew that me and Anya were a good fit, and I have nothing but good to say about Anya and her coaching and everything we achieved together.
Oh
However,
yeah,
I
she's
looked at it
wonderful.
as an opportunity to just see a different style of coaching and how I
Hmm.
feel, you know, with a new coach and all that. So I was eyeing you for a while, to be fair. So I was super happy that we got to, work together. And oh boy, when you came guns blazing because I was like, who is this Sam? She took me on and she put cardio down, food up, and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? Because I was already, like we said, like probably 4 or 5 months post show, and I was
Hmm.
still doing quite high cardio. I would say at the time, like still close to an hour, I think, which is quite a lot for off season, being like four or
Hmm.
5 months post show and not too high with the food either. And I just feel like you got me quite broken at some quite fragile at the time. So it was slightly uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
because I was like used to just, just go, 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 and suddenly like relax, eat, do less, and I'm like, what, what? I just processing, but it worked wonders. I feel like my body was so, so grateful, and it's just me. I think you have to be a coachable person. You have to sometimes trust the person and give them the chance to prove what they are trying to do. Because some people would maybe like push back, like, no, I don't want to gain weight too quickly or something. But it wasn't the case, to be fair. Like everything was nice and steady, and my body was just so, so grateful for giving it a break. You know, I could start lifting heavier. I feel like I lost some size because
Hmm.
the prep was so long and just very, very hard, especially towards the end. So I felt like we had to even like come back of it, like regain some of the muscle that I
Yeah.
lost, and then start building on the top of it. So um yeah, I was just, my hormones were a little bit, no, I wouldn't say a little bit, but probably in a really, really not a good place. So
Yeah.
all the changes we made, and my family would tell you that they all they hear is just like, this Sam, she's God sent a guardian angel,
Oh,
because since she took you on, like you have been just thriving, you have been healthy, you have had so much energy, and obviously the progress speaks for itself as well. So super, super grateful that everything aligned and we could start working together.
well, I do appreciate that. That's very sweet, and like it's amazing that your family sees a change in you too. And I know your husband and your in-laws, your entire family is very, very supportive of you and what you do. They come to your shows, and that's super cool. It's a great dynamic when you have those people that are really close to you that support you, and not only support you, but they see like how much this is changing you as a person. Because another thing we talk a lot about with the mindset is when it comes to fitness and nutrition, and something you probably notice for yourself and for others too, is that it does change not just what you do in bodybuilding, but it kind of provides this ambition for your entire life, right? Where you're trying to, like, you want to be better, you want to work harder, you're more motivated, and then your family kind of comes into that as well. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is a process, I think, especially if there are any new athletes coming into a sport. I think it's a huge adjustment for not just for
Hmm.
you, but for your partner, for your family,
Yeah.
because they will see you with low energy. They will see you in states that they are like, why do you put yourself through this, and all that. So, but I feel like this season, or yeah, this season that we've done together, they are saying that now they can imagine me doing this long term. They couldn't really after my first season, because it was, like I said, really, really hard prep. really for the first time. So I feel like I wasn't so emotionally collected and everything, because everything was just new and I didn't know how to handle certain things and all that. So people didn't know how to act around me and all that. But I can promise you, all of you guys and all that, that if you keep going and you keep that conversation going with your loved ones and everything and explain, they eventually will get also on the board and they will understand, and it's gonna just run overall more smoothly. Yeah. I feel like the
Yeah,
first year was a little bit rocky for everyone in my family, my friends, but this time around they see like I'm much healthier, happier, energy levels are great. I had just, yeah, overall such a great experience this time around. So
that's good. I mean,
yeah.
this year, honestly, like it kind of surprised me too, because when in the beginning of the year, we weren't getting ready for a competition, we were getting ready for your wedding. And I mean, you responded phenomenally. I feel like from the time that we entered a dieting phase, yeah, everything was just like it's almost never the circumstance that progressions are linear, that every single week you're tighter and you're dropping. And of course, you know, we
Mm.
have like a weird week with hormones or sleep or digestion or something that maybe it's not moving as fast. But for you, it really was just like bang, 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 bang. Every week you were getting better. And then by the time we got to your wedding, which you looked absolutely phenomenal for. I know I shared that transformation earlier this year from like where we started, you know, ending off season to entering a dieting phase, and what you were looking like getting ready for your wedding was just it was a phenomenal difference. And then to even see like, you know, we're not trying to be stage lean for a wedding, but to have, you know, nice lean shoulders and lean arms. And then we even did a lot of just like flexibility with your nutrition and training during that time. Um, because you were, I mean, how long were you gone? How long was it? 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks
Yeah,
around my wedding. Yeah.
yeah. And you still throughout that entire time like came back and we're almost in the same place. And we took a little bit of a deload phase before entering into contest prep. But then as soon as we got into contest prep, it was like again, just bang, 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 bang. Everything is just moving so smoothly and so efficiently that I think I started telling you probably, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks out, like, I don't think we need to be too much later than this.
Yeah,
So
it was a strange feeling, but I feel like it's also because I did take those 2 years off. So
yeah.
my body was in a really happy state, you know, or I was feeling really happy, motivated. I really wanted to go get back on the stage and see where I'm at after such a long thing, after taking so long. You know, we check out my bloods, I would say at least twice a year, at least,
Hmm.
you know, to see where are things, if we are moving the right direction, if I'm ready to take on the prep and everything. So I feel like if you are healthy and in a really, really good mindset and you want to get back, it's just it just went so such it was such a smooth ride this time around. I could not believe it myself. I was like, where is the suck? Where is the sucky part? This is like I almost felt guilty that I don't feel bad or that
Hmm.
I can sleep plus 7+ hours. I was like, why? I should be have a sleepless nights, you know, I should be aching, I should be this and that. I was like, no, this is wrong. I should be feeling this good.
Hmm.
This is the correct stage, you know, not the one that I had before. This is how you supposed to feel. But it took me a little bit like to reprocess my mind around it. Yeah.
That's but you absolutely nailed it, I think. And it's hard for us as athletes. I know because I experience it personally, and then I see it with a lot of the people that I work with too, is because you are so ambitious. And part of this sport is like we always want to be better, but we are we are such creatures of like the instant gratification, right? So everybody's like, oh, 6 months improvement phase. Like, let's be real, especially when you're competing as a natural athlete, 6 months is not a lot of time to correct your, correct coming out of a competing phase, right? Coming out of a deficit to put on muscle, to regain hormone homeostasis. Like there's a lot of things that need to happen in this
Yeah.
window for you to be able to diet again effectively. And I love that you have that mindset. And I am starting to see it a little bit more where people are willing to give it the time and be healthy and do it. And those are always the most successful preps in my experience. So I love that you said that. Thank you for sharing that. And um, so let's move forward because for your first show this year, we actually came in a little bit too lean, right? And and that was the feedback, was that we needed to be fuller. But even going into that, um, now I don't think that your calories ever dropped too much below 2000, right? Maybe for a week or two we were like 17, 1800. But for the most part they were pretty high, and you were very, very lean. um, so at the let's talk about the first show first and your experience with that, um and then what your feedback was from that one.
So unfortunately, in going to my, I'm saying unfortunately, the whole prep has been, like you said, super smooth. So yeah, we were just dropping. We were ready ahead of time. I would say there was no problem. But unfortunately, I got sick. I get sick like once a year, and it seems to be around the same time every year. So I was going into my first show a little bit. I feel like maybe the food wasn't really sticking around because I was obviously a little bit feeling under the weather, a little bit, yeah, just I don't think the food was, I wasn't as bubbly and all that. I was also, I, I don't know, like it was, I had zero expectations because after 2 years, I didn't want to put unnecessary pressure on myself whatsoever. I was like, I don't know where I'm at. I haven't been on stage for 2 years. So I had, it was really, really easy. I compete here in Maidenhead. That was like my third time. So I know the venue, I know everything around there. And in my height class, I was with two other girls, and I ended up third. So it wasn't competitive enough for me where I'm at. So I was a little bit, I don't know, it was a little bit strange one because I didn't know if I did well, I didn't do well, where I'm at. I wanted to collect feedback after the show, but unfortunately, everyone was rushing the judges, and so I couldn't get feedback
Mm.
from there. But yeah, I mean, everything was pretty much smooth on there. I did for the first time my own makeup and hair, and turned out okay. So
That was amazing. That's Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's
new
a
suit, darker hair,
yeah,
more muscle.
more muscle, a lot more muscle. Actually, if it's do you mind if I share my screen and show the comparison
Yeah,
between
yeah.
your Arnold? I know I posted on my Instagram, but um, let's do. At any rate, it was a phenomenal look. And to do your own hair and makeup for the first time and coming back, and then you did it again for your the pro qualifying show, and that look was amazing. So we did come into it fuller, right? A little bit fuller. But the makeup, the hair, the tan, the suit, it was such a gorgeous look. Yeah. And there was a little bit, how many weeks did we have in between shows? Was it 4 weeks?
2 weeks. Two
Two
weeks.
weeks. It was only 2 weeks. Wow. And in that time, so immediately after the first show had, like a deload day where you eat, you get to enjoy some food with your family. And then almost immediately we brought your calories up again. And then
It
again.
was absolutely crazy, and that's why I'm like, this season is so different to my very first,
Hmm.
um, because I didn't eat this much even in my off season. Like we didn't get this high in, so I never did like a liquid carb up as well. Like we literally put honey on everything. I still
Yeah.
have honey with a lot of things, and I was like, it was crazy. People were looking at me in the office. I had this huge bowl of rice and stuff, and I would still be pouring over it like honey and all that. We were over 3,000 calories for well, like 10 days, or I don't know how long. It was very, very strange feeling. I knew that I am very much like I will try anything. Like I will say if something doesn't feel right, but I'm also open to try things, And I saw that my body is just burning through it. So I was like, okay, let's
Yeah.
go. So it was slightly uncomfortable to be eating this much close to my show, into my show. It felt very, very strange as well, like drinking all the liquids, and I felt like every night I would be just like full. So it was very, very, very strange feeling to, yeah, going into Hungary.
Yeah. And then Hungary, so once we got there, because it was a very different show experience, of course, being a pro qualifying show. And as you had mentioned, European shows, the girls are typically much harder than American shows. And we see that even at the pro level with like Valeria and Carrie, gorgeous physiques, right? But they're very, very lean, very muscular women. Yeah. So there is a little bit of a difference in the standard. And even there, um, you held your own. You were phenomenal on that stage, and that's a big deal. So tell us a little bit about that experience, because I know technically the Arnold was a pro qualifying show as well, but I don't think that that was as big as the Hungary show. Am I? Yeah. So the Hungary show was bigger. There's more competition there. Definitely some very, very competitive physiques there as well. So tell us a little bit about that, because that one your husband and your in-laws came for it also. Yeah.
Uh, this one was super, super special because I got married this year and my husband is Hungarian. So his family is from Hungary. I don't speak Hungarian, unfortunately, very few words. It's very hard language to learn, but I knew that if I'm gonna compete there, his family said that they would come and support me, and some of his relatives actually live in Budapest. So we knew that I can even save a little bit, some money, and stay in his twin brother's place, and that he would a little bit help us like navigate through the Budapest and everything. So I knew that I want to do the Budapest one day, and last year actually we went there. It was my like birthday present, and we went to watch the show. So last year I went to watch it, and this year I participate as an athlete over there. So it was super special. They moved it to a bigger venue. So it was brand new venue, beautiful. Everyone was super kind, super polite. They were asking me that my name is Kovacs, which is Hungarian surname. So, it was nice to like chat some of the judges and some of the people that yes, I got married to a Hungarian guy. That's why my surname is like that. But the whole experience was just beautiful. And everyone was super kind, polite. The tanning was super. I never had such a great service with the tanning. They were absolutely spot on. Um, yeah, the whole backstage was really nice. There were free snacks. Like it was like I truly felt that I'm on a pro qualifier, and it was just beautiful there. Everyone was super kind. I met some great people. I met some people from my own country, from Czech Republic. So there were two girls that I kind of like, can I hang with you girls? So I'm not gonna
Oh,
be
that's
here alone.
amazing.
So we spent those the whole day together. But it was the talent was big. Like there were girls absolutely looking beautiful, stunning, stunning ladies. I met Kerry backstage with Mark, so I got to chat to them a little bit. I met Lisa from Wellness there, so I got to chat to her a little bit. So it was kind of nice to meet some of those people as well that I admire and follow on the social media. Um, but I am. I just thrive on stage. So even though it was a bigger show, I feel like once my heel step on the stage, I'm like, okay, showtime. Like, I don't really shake. I don't really, I'm like, Sarka is left backstage and this is my alter ego or something, I just love it. So I was smiling. I think it almost hurt how I was smiling. Maybe I have to actually compose it back a little bit for the future or something. But I just had the best time. I was super proud with the package that I was bringing. I knew that looking around, I was like, I had no expectations going into it, especially 2 weeks prior, not winning even my class. I was like on pro qualifier, there is just no way. So I think that also a little bit scaled back my expectation, the stress level and all of that. And I was just able to just soak it all in, enjoy it. I was super present. I was happy with my posing. Like things I could have done, I've done, I think, well. And I don't think I could have done much better for where I'm at because I still need a lot of things to improve on my frame and all that. But I was super,
Not
super
a
happy.
lot of things, just little things. Yeah. But yes, you watching you present, like you you are a force to be reckoned with because you are one of those women that steals the stage. Just your energy when you step on, you own it. Your posing is flawless. It's so confident. I know I tell you that all the time at our check-ins too, but it's just like it's one of those that like it gives me goosebumps when I watch it because oh, this is so amazing. Just I was so proud of you. And then to be in a show like that and you ended up holding center of second callouts. So I think that ends us at like seventh, eighth place in that lineup at
Probably, yeah.
yeah, which is a massive accomplishment. And I don't know, like to put it into perspective, because, shows are again different here, but most bikini athletes, when they compete at the national level here, and we have a lot more national shows, right? They're, everybody wants the first call out. Of course, everybody wants to win, but most people, the first time they get to that level, like they're very lucky to get a second call out and to be able to own that kind of presentation in that depth. So I think that that's an amazing accomplishment, and just watching even the difference in your fullness in 2 weeks and how, because it does, you do look more muscular when we really capitalized on the fullness of it. We made a couple little corrections with posing, with help from Tori as well, and I think that made a big difference in the presentation and just keeping the glutes full too. But that was, yeah, you're going to be a rock star, and I know we do have, like I said, little improvements, not massive improvements to make in your physique. And from what you saw, like if it were your perspective and you're judging yourself, where do you feel like you need the most improvement in this off season?
So I'm super brutal when it comes to me.
Of course.
I think we all do, when we talk about someone else, they are like, oh, you just need a little bit of this, but we pick ourselves apart big time. But for me, always it has been my glutes, and they continue to be the thing I need to work on the most. I have a little bit wider set of hips and stronger
Hmm.
legs from doing all kinds of sports before and all that. So I used to, like I said, enjoy squatting and leg presses and all that, and I just built quite dense legs. So
Hmm.
I just need to make sure that my glutes kind of catch up with my legs and my wider set of hips. So I need more projection, so they are more 3D, especially when you turn me into a rear. Um, so that will be my main focus, I would say. If I can pick myself a little bit even more apart, I would say a little bit of roundness to the hamstring as well. We can always use a
Okay.
little bit of that.
Yeah,
little bit tighter in the core, because I feel because we pushed the fullness a little bit more this time around, we sacrificed a little bit of the sharpness from the front
a little bit.
in
Hmm.
order to come fuller from the back. So it was either we will be sharper from the front, but then we will be more flat from the back because I don't have the density there just yet, or we will fill me up a little bit more. I will have a little bit more pop from the back, but not as sharp from the front as I was perhaps on the first show. So it was
Hmm.
like, where do you go with? So once I have the density more in my rear, we can like try to figure out the waist to come as small as possible as well, and a little bit of, you can use a little bit of shoulder always, like, you know
Always. Yeah,
bikini, it's all about a little bit of shoulders, a little bit of glutes,
yeah, just a little more delts, just a little
just a
more
little.
glutes. Well, yeah, and I agree with that. And I know like we've kind of talked extensively about the goals for this improvement season, and I agree. It's just a little bit of a density factor, and when we talk about it, it's hard to, I know, like as an athlete, kind of absorb it, but you are very young in the sport. I mean, having only been like your fourth and fifth show ever, your second year ever competing, you are still very new to it. So just the changes that you've made even in this short period of time have been absolutely incredible. And I'll patch in the pictures and show kind of where you were in the first year in comparison to where we finished this year. But let's talk a little bit about future goals. Like now, now we're in improvement season, and I want to add to that, like going, from where we were in peak week, eating 3,000 calories, which you're still doing, and no cardio yet, just steps right now. Yeah, and still maintaining within about a pound, half a kilo to a kilo kind of fluctuation, which is a really phenomenal place to be. So let's talk about future goals, because we are going to take a little bit longer growing phase again. So tell us about that.
Yes, so I feel like I feel like I need quite a bit of size, in my opinion, in the glutes. And I think if I would like to compete next year, it would give me just a couple of months before I have to start diet again, which I don't think I could bring more for
Hmm.
sure. I could build something there, especially with my body being so well responsive and eating decent amount of food and processing it well and all that. But I just for the sake of competing, I don't want to do it because I enjoy being on stage is fun, but I like working out. That's my core. Like I love gym. I love I love lifting, okay? People. I love that all that bling and all that, but I love lifting. So
Hmm.
and when I know that, I want to be competitive, I don't want to just move one spot, two spots. I want that first call out next time. I want to come to the regional and be undeniable. So if it means for me to take the time off, I will and utilize it the best way possible I can. I will do that. I'm also I'm, I'll say it, I always say it with the age, like I'm not old. I wouldn't say old, but I'm 33 years old. So I choose wisely what I do and how I do it. And, my health, perhaps I don't recover maybe as well as I did 10 years ago, so I have to be a
Sure.
little bit smart about my decisions and all that, how I approach things. So I kind of decided that next year is gonna be just me working hard, eating a lot, and training and focusing on my family and my husband again a little bit. But that doesn't mean that I'm taking my foot off gas at all. Like
Not even
we
a little
are
bit.
working together 12 months a year. I am on meal plan whole year. I work out whole year, so I do all these bits because I want to come better. I really want. And I have some big goals for myself, scary goals, and I don't know if I can achieve them, but I will make sure I do what I can to reach those goals. So 2025 will be me sitting it off, unfortunately, again for another season, but I think it's the best thing I can do for where I'm at.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I love that mindset because it is important that we put health and family first. And you know, I am very similar to you in that for me, competing is a byproduct of what I love to do. I love to train. I love to lift, and if I get to compete, awesome. But it's not my primary focus. And I do, of course, like I love all of my athletes. I love what I do for work. I love my husband and my family, and I do have things outside of competition also. And I think it's important that when we talk about balance realistically, like balance in the way that we're feeding our whole soul and not just the competitor part of it, right? And when we do get to feed that competitor part of it, we're doing it with everything we have. We put, everything into competition, into training, into dieting. And just like you said, it's not a seasonal sport. It's something we're doing all of the time. In that two
Yeah,
years that you were not on stage, you never stopped working. You were one of
yeah,
those that I think in the time that we have worked together, I can probably count on one hand how many times you have been off plan. It's very, very few times. It's you work hard. And that's to me, that's what it's about, right? Is the consistent pursuits to be better, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And I love that mindset. It's just I think it's so important that more people hear that and they hear that it's like it's not a race to get there, if you're going to be your
The stage
best.
doesn't, yeah, the stage doesn't go anywhere. And I would much rather take a little bit more time and come improve than show up the same. That for me would be like, even if I maybe don't win the show, but I came better, much better
Hmm.
than what I used to look, that's a huge win for me. So,
Hmm.
so as long as I keep going, the stage doesn't go anywhere. And I think I never want to be in the position that, oh, I need to prep again. Oh my God, I have to get diet again. Like I never
Right.
really want to be in that place. You know what I mean? Like it's a privilege that we get to do this, that we can afford to step on stage and all that, you're that you have enough income, that you have a healthy body to do that, that you it's all this is a huge, huge privilege. So I never want to take it for granted. Yeah.
I love that. It's so I just it makes me happy to hear those things and just I that type of mindset I think is what enables you to have longevity in the sport, to understand that there is a lot that comes with it. And I know once we get back on stage, even though, it'll be 2026 before we get on stage again, and it'll be that undeniable factor, that undeniable package, just watching what you were able to accomplish, in this last time. It is a completely different physique, a completely different look, so much better balance and detail. And I can imagine what another year is going to do with that, especially, when I know you work as hard as you do, we're fueling your body. So you have the calories and the energy to support that. You have the work ethic. That's never been a question. You have the family support. And it's really having all of those things aligned. So the training, the nutrition, the family support, recovery, you're very, very good about your recovery, taking time to make sure, and you've always been very good about communicating that. When you're too sore, we have done, I think for a long time, deloaded to where you were only training 4 times a week, right? Several months that we did that. And I don't think since we've been together, you've ever trained more than 5 days a week. Yeah, maybe for a little bit. I think pretty consistently, and um, you do respond to that. Even when you were only training 4 days a week, you were responding very, very well. And I think that that played very well into your success in this prep too, because you had a better idea, of course, of how this process goes now. First time is always very challenging, but also you're more in tune with your body at this point. So you're able to understand, like, I need a break, or I don't feel well enough to do this, or those cues a little bit better. Is that accurate?
Yeah, 100%. I think the maturity as a in the sport as an athlete, like every year you get to learn a little bit more about things about yourself. Uh, I just see enormous differences, obviously now with like having more accessibility with the other athletes and coaches. I'm watching educational videos quite often on the YouTube and all that, you know, from the other people and trainers in the business. So I'm more in tune with my body, like the muscle mind connection. I just, it's just every year you think that, oh, I learned so much, but then you still learn much, much, much more, you know, about your mindset, about how you navigate through the food, what you need, how you
Absolutely.
communicate with people around you, how you communicate with your coach. It just has been yeah, this is I think what I love on the sport, that it's you just learn all the time new things, and it's never ever 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 been boring for me. Like it's just so, I think that's why we all love it, because the target is always moving, there is always
Hmm.
something to chase, something to improve, and it's not that we hate our bodies or something. No, we are creating this art, you know, with little bit pieces of puzzle, and more equipped you are, with more tool you have in your box, you just take it to the next level and next level and next level, and just so exciting. And sometimes you look back and you are like, you don't even recognize yourself from years and years ago, like it's a completely different human. But it's not just
Absolutely.
about the body, but I learned so much about like my mental strength and things, and I became so much more um like, because I have a goal in my life, it just makes me way more calm person. And I used to like pick a fights with my husband over things, and now just like it just changed me overall. Like I just love it. I feel like if I could, I think everyone should do one prep, just to like go through that process and see
Yeah,
what is it about, because it's way more than just living some metal in the gym, you know. It's way more. Yeah, I love
absolutely.
it.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And for taking the time. I know that you just got off work. Of course, we're in opposite time zones where now it is almost 6:30 in the evening, and I'm just getting my day started. And I'm sure you've got things to do. So we'll wrap up here, but
That's few steps to finish.
a few steps to finish, of course. So a lot of the people that follow me already follow you, but tell everybody where they can find you, follow your journey, because you do post some really great content. You're a very avid poster that updates on your journey, not just like the good things, but the bad things and kind of the hurdles we overcome. You have some wonderful information, so tell everyone
Thank you.
where they can follow.
Yeah, I try to be consistent and not to shy
Mhm.
away if I'm in season or off season. So I try to like check all year around my physique updates and everything. But mainly you can find me guys on the Instagram, which is Sarka Kovacs, Sarka Kovacs fitness. I am planning on doing a little bit more social media platforms, but that's yet to come. So it's mainly the Instagram at the moment where I'm active.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for taking the time, and